I guess, yeah, so we kind of started on the process when she was like sort of 7 months old. Um, and I think it was sort of literally just rolling out. So I think like 5K South, it wasn't in because depending on the districts. Um, so I think it took us about uh, a year to get on the scheme through early intervention. So there was no kind of, it was just me cobbling together early intervention during that period, and kind of had to go through the ombudsman and all that sort of process and political leaders to get access. So then once we got access, we're at plan. So we were meant to have a planning meeting 3 weeks ago, but my husband got COVID, and daughter's immunocompromised, as I'm sure a lot of our kids are. So it meant that uh, we effectively set up hotel quarantine in our house. But it also meant that we couldn't have any support or any process. And that I found really, I guess it's not an NDIS thing, but it's a tricky thing where there was support available for my husband, who in the end was actually just had a very mild cold. But there was nothing for us. And I think, so he actually ticked the box. They sort of asked if your partner needs support. And so they did actually ring him, but it was kind of more worried that he was in a domestic violence situation. And he's like, no, my partner just needs help with their disabled daughter. Like, so, and I guess unfortunately as a result of that, I had like hip surgery in December. I've actually torn the labrum in my other hip, so I'm currently on crutches. I'm not allowed to lift her. And it was because, it was sort of, I was, and, she's got a lot of physical disabilities, so a lot of demands. So yes, that's that really, just because there was just no support. Like we were calling out GPs, we were calling hospitals, there was just nothing available to us. And so planning meeting is Monday. And I think it'll be, and it's quite a different plan because I guess because I'm lying down because I can't sit down. And I've just had surgery, I'm still on crutches. So, and my physical situation is much worse. So we're asking for more support, because I guess, and also that the difference between her and her peers is sort of growing, and that physicality is really growing. So yeah, so I think it will just be, I'm not sure how the planning meeting is going to go. I think I'm a bit nervous. And I think, yeah, that feeling of originally, like, yes. And I think, like our first planner we had 4 planners in 8 months. And the last one was a barista who hadn't undergone her 2 days of training, so she wasn't allowed to do our plan. But then 4 weeks later, because she'd done her 2nd day of training, she was now teaching someone. She was now leading someone about teaching them how to do the planning process. And I think there's kind of 2 things. I think the problem is the good planners, because they're under such time pressure and that the targets they receive are so ridiculous, they then leave the industry. So it's this horrible thing of you, and I think there's just so much churn. And I think, yeah, definitely having an undiagnosed condition. I remember our very first, I think second plan, so she's currently listed as global developmental delay, which isn't the right thing at all. And I've been trying to change it for years, because our first planner was like, oh, well, when you get a diagnosis, we'll change it. I'm like, no, this is genetic deletion on this arm of her chromosome is her diagnosis. No one else has it, but that's all I'm ever going to get, mate. Like, there is no more. So I think, yeah, especially in that undiagnosed space is really tricky, and things that aren't linear or normal. So like all the tests you have to do, like, so for example, she has no ability to crawl because she has no, she can't support her arms and lift her arms, but she can walk. But that doesn't make sense on a pedicat test because it says if you can walk, therefore you can crawl. And I'm like, well, no, she can't, and she can't put her arms over her head and do all these other things, but she can use her legs, so therefore no, it doesn't work like that. And I think, yeah, and it's really interesting. I found that those kind of silly sort of, the Cosmo quiz of assessments are actually more valuable than like letters from, your pediatric neurologist and the head of the children's, because people, like, if you have no background, you can be like, oh, well, it's a 3 out of 4, so therefore it equals this amount of funding. So I think when you don't fit in that, it's really hard. And I guess I'm really worried once we turn 7 and she still doesn't have a diagnosis, how does that work? So yes, I think that's sort of my concerns.